First of all, I mean, your other guest, I mean, I don't know what kind of a creature he is. He's a kind of low-grade thug, as far as I can see. He's listened to nothing I've said.
He's a Muslim. That's what
I'll tell you. No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. I just think that I think you're just a very low-rent racist. But anyway, let me just get...
In a riveting showdown on a recent show, Douglas Murray and Cenk Uygur squared off over the Israel-Hamas conflict. Murray staunchly defended Israel's military actions, emphasizing security imperatives, while Uygur passionately argued against what he saw as disproportionate force and humanitarian crises in Gaza, igniting a heated debate that captivated viewers worldwide. Watch.
First of all, I mean, your other guest, I mean, I don't know what kind of a creature he is. He's a kind of low-grade thug, as far as I can see. He's listened to nothing I've said.
I know, because I'm Muslim. That's what you call all Muslims.
I'll tell you. No, it's not that at all. It's not that at all. I just think that I think you're just a very low-rent racist. But anyway, let me just get on to it. You say, first of all, I don't care about the death of Palestinian children. Yes, I do care. I care very deeply about it. But I also know that the responsibility for their deaths lies on Hamas, which has misgoverned their society for the last 16 years and now has been leading the country into being in a war with Israel. So yes, it's on Hamas, this. As for seeing wars, by the way, I just mentioned about seeing wars because as far as I can see, you're very ill-traveled as well as rather ill-lettered and ill-spoken. And I mention that I cover wars and go to wars because I happen to think myself that it's worth seeing things with your own eyes, including things that you don't particularly like, but you report the truth. I don't know if you ever even leave your own bedroom.
Douglas Murray addresses a crucial and contentious topic, the deaths of Palestinian children. He firmly states that he does care deeply about these deaths, countering any implication that he is indifferent. He places the blame for these deaths on Hamas, the governing body in Gaza. According to Murray, Hamas mismanagement and aggressive policies are the root causes of the conflict and the resulting casualties. This viewpoint is aligned with those who see Hamas as a terrorist organization more focused on its ideological battles with Israel than on the well-being of the Palestinian people. To bolster his argument, Douglas Murray emphasizes his own experience in conflict zones, suggesting that first-hand observation is vital for understanding the complexities of such situations. By claiming that he has covered wars and seen conflicts with his own eyes, he implies a level of authority and credibility that comes from direct experience. This is contrasted with his portrayal of the opponent as someone who has not ventured beyond their bedroom, implying a lack of real-world engagement and understanding.
And I can tell already that you don't, because you've already said something that demonstrates you know nothing about this conflict. You have just demonstrated it in the following terms. You said that this is why we need to push for a two-state solution and give legitimacy to the Palestinian Authority. I'll tell you something you don't know, because I guess you spent no time in the West Bank, have you? I'll tell you something you probably don't know. The Palestinian Authority, Fatah, celebrated the 7th of October massacres. I'll give you another fact which demonstrates you know nothing about this and clearly haven't ever visited any Palestinians in the West Bank as I have. If there was an election tomorrow in the West Bank, the reason why there isn't one is because if there was an election tomorrow in the West Bank, Hamas would win. So your idea of a two-state solution, I'm afraid you are so out of date and you really should leave your bedroom. Because in this region, nobody thinks that there is a two-state solution on the table because there is not a viable negotiating partner.
Douglas Murray then critiques the idea of a two-state solution as outdated and impractical. He argues that the Palestinian Authority PA, which governs the West Bank, is not a viable partner for peace. He asserts that if elections were held in the West Bank, Hamas would likely win, indicating a lack of popular support for the PA. This, in his view, renders the idea of negotiating a two-state solution moot, as there isn't a unified or credible Palestinian leadership to negotiate with. In this next clip, he really schools Cenk.
But I just want to make one other main point. You have gone on and on tonight, throwing accusations out against the Jewish state, against me. It's the sort of thing you do. I know you're a sort of online pugilist and think you can run for office, and good luck with that. But I'd just like to point out that you only really get animated if the Jews are involved. And I can tell that for the following reason. I mean, your surname's Uyghur, isn't it? 1 million Uyghur Muslims in China have been put in concentration camps in the last decade. And people of your ilk never really care about that, do you? Because it's not the Jews doing it, it's the Chinese Communist Party. At the moment, 1 million people who are in Pakistan at the moment, who are your fellow Muslims and who happen to be Afghan, and I don't think you care about them, do you? 1 million Afghans are currently being forcibly deported from Pakistan to Afghanistan. You don't care about that. You're not riled up about that. You're not riled up about what the Janjaweed are currently doing in Sudan, where thousands and thousands of people are being attacked by the Islamist militia there. You don't care about any of that. You get exercised and you rile up what little base you have of malcontents because you're riled up when the Jews do anything.
All right, Cenk.
Perfectly.
One of Murray's key rhetorical strategies is to accuse his opponent of selective outrage, particularly against Israel. He contends that the opponent only gets animated when Israel or Jews are involved, suggesting a biased or anti-Semitic perspective. To illustrate this point, Murray highlights several other significant human rights abuses involving Muslims that he claims the opponent ignores. The treatment of Uyghur Muslims in China, where over 1 million Uyghurs have been detained in what many describe as concentration camps. This is a major human rights issue that has garnered international condemnation. The forced deportation of Afghan refugees from Pakistan back to Afghanistan, where they often face dangerous conditions. The atrocities committed by the Janjaweed militia in Sudan, particularly in the Darfur region, where countless civilians have been attacked. Murray uses these examples to argue that his opponent's selective focus on Israel reveals a deep-seated bias. He implies that the opponent's activism is not genuinely concerned with human rights, but is rather driven by an animus against Israel and Jews.